Hey guys, and welcome to Embodying the BFF Vibes with yours truly, Rema Deshere. So let's jump right in. This is so good. I wanted to talk about this because I think everybody comes to a point on their spiritual journey where we feel a bit isolated, and right, because you're creating space for good vibes, and in the midst of creating those good vibes, we find ourselves isolated and alone sometimes, because as we're leveling up, the people that are no longer matching up to our desires and who we are choosing to be, they kind of fall off, right? In my spiritual journey, there's so many friends that just kind of dissipated, and right, and it wasn't necessarily forceful, like something happened, or I moved, or they just kind of stopped calling, right? And I love Abraham Hicks says that you should never have to force anything. And with this falling off of friends and sometimes even family, we will feel isolated and alone. There's a couple really important key points to remember. That just because there are people that are dying off in your reality, not literally, but falling off in your reality, doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. It just means that you're leveling up your vibe. And we feel crazy sometimes because there are so many people that are being removed from our life in one way or another. And I remember somebody even telling me, Rema, you're cutting a lot of people off. Are you sure this is the right thing? Are you okay? And I noticed that I settled when it came to my friends. I was settling for out of alignment takers because I was an out of alignment giver. And I talk about this in the caviar money mindset, the vibration, at least when it comes to finances and money, giving too much or receiving because you feel like other people have more than you. But in the same way, being an out of alignment giver, I would fill up my space and with people, just random people, and I never had standards. I didn't have standards for my friends. I was willing to do anything for them and be there for them in any way, but I constantly found myself in friendships where I was constantly filling cups and then it was never reciprocated. And this was a choice that I made. This was something that I had to vibrate out of, right? And it's hard sometimes because you get down on yourself and you say, what's wrong with me? Is something going on with me? And it's important to hold true to who you are and remember that you don't need a whole bunch of people around you to feel worthy, to feel love, to feel support. Your support system is not measured by how many people are around you or by how many friends you have, right? So if you have gone through this, maybe you resonate, or maybe you're going through it now, but lean into the isolation, lean into the alone time, because there's something there for you. It's important to form a really healthy relationship with yourself, because if you want this amazing support system, you have to be that for yourself first. And maybe you've heard me say this before in relationships. If you want the dream guy, you have to be the dream woman. So constantly filling up your own cup, doing the inner work, constantly growing, constantly being there for you first, trusting yourself first, loving yourself more and more and more every day, unapologetically, right? So as we do this, right, we're filling up our cups, and eventually there comes a desire for other humans. And this is the story. I ended up meeting up with somebody that was following me on Instagram. And I was definitely putting out like, okay, I'm ready for the humans. And this time I have standards. I want them to be pre-qualified to be in my presence. I want it to be a two-way street. And so I ended up meeting with this chick, and I was of course nervous because I wanted to go super well, and I wanted the best, right? I wanted to have a good time. I wanted best friend vibes. And so it got me thinking, and I was like, okay, well, what are BFF vibes? Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? And we've all had best friends, so it's easy to decide. So I was like, okay, what would I do if I were meeting up with my best friend And we ended up grabbing a bottle of wine and just talking in our car for until like the wee hours of the morning in a parking lot. And it was the best moment ever. Like, it was everything it was more than anything I could have asked for, right? And in the middle of this conversation with said amazing human, I was saying it's really glad to like pour out, but not feel like I'm pouring out more. So we ended up like creating these BFF vibes in a way, because we were both kind of doing our affirmations in the car on the way to meet each other, which I thought was super funny. We were both kind of doing the same thing. And we remember sitting on the bench with her, and I was saying, I love that, you know, this is like, I don't feel like I'm pouring out, you know, without getting anything back. And I said something along those lines, and she was like, girl, there are 2 full cups here. And it was so like inside my head, I was thinking, oh my God, I fucking love you. This is perfect. Like, this is like, I was freaking out inside. And but just like there were many like moments like that where things just got to be that good. And it inspired me to record this video, because I'm like, okay, how do we embody the BFF vibes, right? Going out and meeting people anyways, and not feeling like they just have to walk into your experience. Like, what if you just started walking up to strangers and having conversations, or walking up to people that maybe you really like their outfit or whatever it is, and holding that BFF vibe in a way. And that's, I feel, how you can't fuck it up. Because if you're holding that energy and that is your inspiration, and you're making a decision and a choice in that moment to let it be a certain way, then anything that you do has to be that. It doesn't matter who you're meeting up with, right? Like, you're always a vibrational match to the people around you. So if you're doing the inner work and you're sure and you know who you are, then you will meet other women, other men that are doing the same, right? So I think it's 2 things. Making standards for your friends, being okay with being alone, being okay with isolation, and not feeling like you have to force support, force friendships, and force this community and these people around you. And that's usually when you're going to want it the most. Whenever you are alone on the journey, and people are falling off, and you feel isolated, is when you want to reach out, but you're reaching out to the people that they were lower standards, right? So because you're not willing to be alone, you will take on anyone instead of nothing at all. And it's important to be okay with just you, right? So, and then embodying the BFF vibes by just choosing, what do I want this to look like? What would it feel like? What would I do if I were meeting up with one of my best friends? Like, how do I carry myself? What kind of things do I talk about? And I was very conscious in this conversation, because I kept like staying in the vibe of who would I be with my friends? Like, who would I be with my friends, right? That, because it automatically eliminates any of the weird, awkward vibes that we may get, right? Like, we completely take away any awkward vibes. We take away any of the like random stuff where it's like, you know, what do I say next? Like, there was none of that. So, because with your best friends, you're yourself. So as you embody the BFF vibe, you are being truer to you, because you're allowing yourself to be more open and more you, even though there's that pressure of like, I would really love a friend right now, and I really hope she likes me, and I really hope this goes well. And it removes all the anxiety as well. Like, it removes all of the things that would prevent you from having the connection that you desire. Does that make sense? So embody the BFF vibes, guys. Go out there and meet people. Meet up with somebody that reaches out to you if it feels good. And because I'm a homebody, like, I like to stay at the house. I don't go out much. It's something that I decided I want to start doing more, because I realized I stayed in more because it was an older part of Rayma that was like, the shy part of me. Believe it or not, like, I have a tendency to be shy sometimes, or I did, and I wouldn't walk up to the people, I wouldn't say the things, and I just stayed at home. I was very comfortable in my home. I love my room. I could do anything from my house. I'm like, why do I need to leave? So it was a push for me. For me, it was a push to get out there and talk to more people. If you go out a lot and you're always doing things with people, then maybe your push is to stay in more, get bored more, in silence more, do nothing more, right? And really lean into what that peace and serenity that comes with being alone, right? And this amazing connection with yourself, right? That's whenever you get to build your relationship with you. The only way you can build your relationship with you is by spending more time with yourself, right? Like whether it's journaling or doing inner work, watching documentaries, doing art, painting, creating something or making something in your house, cooking, right? And sometimes it's just for you, blasting the music and just having fun, right? Like making it a whole party with you, yourself, and you, me, myself, and I. So yeah, BFF vibes on all the things, and go out there, meet people, get yourself out there, spend time with yourself, fill up your cup so you can manifest other people that have their cup overflowing as well. So you can just be together and energize each other constantly, right? It feels good. I was so motivated the next day. I was so excited to do work and get things done and create things. I was in a completely different vibe, and I realized that I had absorbed this BFF energy, this feminine energy of just hanging out with another woman and chatting and having fun. It was really fun. It's something that's on my goals, is I want to have just a whole group of 15 women, 11 to 15 women, where we just get together from time to time. We're all friends, and we just slow motion run down the beach with our hair in the wind, and life is good and there's the sun, and we're just girling the fuck out, right? That's a goal of mine because I've never had that before. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends in high school. I've never had more than enough girlfriends. And I still want a small, tight circle, because you can only have a really tight connection with so many humans, right? Like a deep, deep connection. And because those connections take time to invest, right? And so we've got work and kids and all these things. You feel me? So but I want a group, right? I want a group of women that's just a strong mini community, where we all feed off of each other and support each other, get together and help each other in life, but love each other the way that women are meant to love one another, that women are meant to support one another. So embody the BFF vibes, create your empire. Start choosing your friends wisely. Write down standards of what you want it to be. And you never have to be picky choosy. You don't have to wonder if they're the right friend or not. If you are everything that you write down on that piece of paper that you would like in a friend, then it's science, it's spirituality, it's both of those. It's certainty that you will find that in the world, because you only get back what you give yourself. You only see in the world what you choose to be now, today, right? So I love you guys. Stay high vibe. Deep jungle love by and from Rema Dashuri, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Ciao.